All right. Hello and welcome, everyone. So, we are doing another Just One Take testing. Today, we are doing it on the Scourge Prime plus the Knell, mostly the Scourge Prime, for G2 Phoenix, which is just a general testing of changes, mainly with just how the spear guns are now and, like, what's the deal. So, before we talk about anything too crazy here, Scourge Prime, this is the build that I've gone for on it. So this weapon does not have much critical chance, and I don't really think it's worth building into. But what this weapon does have is a very nice amount of status and the ability to apply a ton of heat plus corrosive procs, allowing it to burn through armor very quickly. Whenever you just like dump a magazine on an enemy, they're going to end up with like 50 heat procs, which is usually plenty to get rid of them. And that's really solid. Notable on this, you don't have to run Serration. You could very easily be running Galvanized Aptitude, but I like the upfront damage on this, which is just super nice. Also running Primary Merciless, because obviously this is an AoE explosion weapon, and Merciless is just going to be our overall best bet. Plus, not to mention, the reload speed on this is nice, because the reload is a little long on the Scourge Prime. Also, terminal velocity is really helpful here because the projectiles are a little on the slow side, but this is definitely not necessary. And also, overall, this is a single form of build. And also, you could swap out the Bane, of course, also for Galvanized Aptitude. It's not going to be as good as the Bane because the Bane double dips on your heat procs. But if you don't want to worry about messing around with Banes, it's going to be way simpler just to go with Aptitude. Then on the Knell is super good. Super good weapon. This does tons of damage. I have it on Radiation because it's mostly for boss killing, and also because the amount of damage that this thing kicks out on regular enemies is going to be more than enough. This is a pretty, stock standard build here for the Knell. We are using Anemic Agility, which people might not super often see, but the additional fire rate on the Knell is fantastic just for burning through hallways of enemies. I probably would just switch to like more raw damage depending on like what I'm fighting, maybe on Eidolons or whatever. But usually even on Eidolons, I really prefer the fire rate just because if you miss any shots, the fire rate really mitigates any negative effects from that. But yeah, this mostly just uses a bunch of upfront damage. If you are going to be doing Eidolons, it is worth noting that Galvanized Diffusion is not better than Barrel Diffusion in that situation. So you would want to switch that, but it's also only a 10% difference and probably won't affect anything unless you're really min-maxing. Also, this is one of the weapons that uses secondary deadhead. This is obviously much better because the headshot multiplier is much more now, which also just makes the Knell overall better. But because this weapon has to get headshots anyway, there's no real reason not to use deadhead because it's going to stack up super fast. The negative recoil is actually really good because with high fire rate, this thing can kick like a mule if you don't have that. And just getting a ton more damage from the headshot multiplier is great. So, moving on, we're going to do a quick simulacrum just to show off the Scourge in all of its modes and the changes to the gun spears. So these like level 190 guys, real quick, just the primary fire, applying a ton of heat. Apply a ton of heat, apply it directly to the enemies. They do not live through it. It's really good. Especially if you get a couple headshots in there, like just like put like 20 some heat procs of like just general quality on these guys. And they don't like it. These are level 190 enemies, which is going to be like pretty similar in terms of survivability to enemies on the Steel Path. It takes them down no problem. So you can just fire this just down a hallway and just burn everybody to death in the end there. Also, you saw my cat just give me some like super fast reloads there. Normally, the reload looks like... Okay, the reload's not supposed to be that fast. That's a bug, but it would appear I have permanent infinite reloads, but you'll see the reload whenever we do the other part of this. Okay, so the other thing is whenever you throw the Scourge, you get 3 headshots on enemies affected. So if you throw it, you can get this effect with this orbiting around all these enemies. Basically, if you shoot the bubble, it magnetizes to their head, giving you automatic headshots, which is great for the Knell, because it means you don't have to aim down sight to really easily proc its effect and kill everyone. Also, you get that extra shot if you're playing as Harrow, so you get 2 shots in the Knell, which gives you a second chance to get that buff going, which is great. Getting constant headshots is super strong. It's stronger than it's ever been. because of course, the new 3 headshot multiplier instead of 2, which is a way huge damage increase. If you're using single target weapons, it's really solid to be able to just throw this down a hallway, aim at head level, and just kill everyone. Also, you get to use the Scourge with its own buff now, which I'll say doesn't really make much difference. The headshots will do more damage for sure, but because the procs are doing most of the heavy lifting here, you're not going to see a huge amount of difference whenever you're actually doing this. It is going to make a difference for sure, but you're not really going to feel it as much as you're going to feel it on weapons that are like heavy single target headshot weapons, or weapons that have like, you know, outrageous damage and just like fire a ton of bullets, like the Fenmore, for example. So the all fire on this, really good, but not specifically for it. I definitely really like that you get to throw it and then still use it. So you can like apply some status to an enemy and then swap to the Knell, which, like, you know, for some like setups and stuff, or swap to like even like your like melee weapon, because this effect works on the Redeemer pellets, for example. To fire an entire Redeemer shot into someone's head, and use that with like condition overload, where you throw this, apply some status, swap to the Redeemer, blow them up. Like there's things that you can do in there for kind of building it out, and I think that the Scourge is probably pretty easily going to be the best of the gun staffs. Anyway, the other thing I want to do is just run like a pretty quick, like little like 5-minute steel path survival. Just to show it off just a little bit more, because obviously just like showing it in the sim and talking about it is one thing, but I want to make sure that we do like a little bit more, just a small amount more. And we'll just go as Harrow, even though this build is not like meant for Steel Path. I'm on the Thermal Sunder build for him. I should be fine. Famous last words.
Scans show Grineer are harvesting Kuba nearby.
Because generally speaking, he does want to be using something a little more standard. Although Harrow has like a ton of options for Steel Path, if I'm honest.
Down the environmental systems, sending modified life support capsules. Use these to sustain your environment.
You can see these regular enemies, even on Steel Path, are really not a problem. Also, you can fire while using your 1, which is really nice for survivability. And you can see that, like, it's not an insanely large AoE weapon, but the AoE is enough for you to just be able to fire it down a hallway and kind of not care. So that's solid. You do get the little stumble whenever you're, like, firing it too close to yourself, though. So there is some consideration for wanting the Prime Sure-Footed, or some way to, like, have status immunity. You wanted to use like Titania's 1 or whatever. Oh yeah, I'm on the... Okay, yeah, I don't have as much duration as I normally would.
Get ready for a capsule.
Then the Knell with the constant headshots. We can aim down sight if we want to, but we really don't have to. That is using our 1 to stay alive really easily.
Capsule to the area. Activating it will buy you more time.
Then as you can see, whenever you're in high density environments, you can also just kind of fire at head level with the Knell, and it's not a big deal. They can really go both ways. All those enemies over here just constantly getting the headshot buff. And it's being able to shoot while you got this out. Yeah, the Harrow Prime access has aged well. I don't know if that's like super clear or not, but the
support on the way.
The Harrow PA has aged real good. I think you agree. Glad you're enjoying the new wiki stuff. Just playing a shmup. Oh, almost got hurt there. Also, the new, like, really fast weapon switching makes the Scourge's playstyle, like, way more reasonable to do. So that is also a benefit to it. Yeah, what if Warframe was Metal Slug? Yeah, you really don't have to have like a ton of upkeep on like the headshots for the Knell, which is nice. Which allows for you to like miss a bunch, but as long as you're firing at head level, it's usually pretty fine. Ooh. There we go. I'm gonna reload this before the buff wears off. And the new enemies coming into the area to be headshotted. Really good around corners for like just like street sweeping those guys up. Yeah, Warframe, but make it bullet hell. God, yeah, the new weapon switching, man, it's been 10,000 years. We finally have it. A super good weapon switching for synergies like this to actually be good.
Our operative is making progress. This will help our cause. Extraction is available if you need it.
I was really hoping the Acolyte was going to show up, because I want to show the Scourge plus Knell on the Acolyte. So we'll wait until the Acolyte shows up. Oh yeah, the enemies, it's a reverse bullet hell, really. We're out here playing Vampire Survivors in Warframe. Yeah, bullet heaven. Oh yeah, there is a little reload now for your gun staff because you get to keep using it. There's the Acolyte. All right. Fuck you. Oh, you bitch. Where'd he go? There he is. He's dead now. Yeah, just getting to like hip fire the Knell into him is very satisfying. Which you can technically do just by aiming, but with the Scourge it is way easier. And also notably kind of console friendly. Because like normally like getting super high precision headshots on console is like just way more difficult, but whenever you give them a giant bubble for a head, essentially, it makes life way more simple. Yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna have to turn the gameplay portion of this down a lot for the actual YouTube video because of how loud the Knell is. But yeah, it's super fun. Harrow Prime Access, aged like fine wine. honestly, at the current time, in terms of overall performance, Harrow's PA might be the best one used all together. Like, if you could only use everything in a PA, Harrow's is probably overall aged the best. All right. Hello, everyone, and thank you to all of the new patrons and returning patrons, and especially thank you to our $10 plus patrons, which are Aiden Neon, Brutus Salazar, Donald Stevens, Dylan Dworsky, Thrain, Jacob Bean, JC4 Science, Joshua Adams, Lou Zamp, Malik X. Williams, Metrozanka, Mitchta, Nicholas Ridley, Paradise, Shan Hardine, Victor, Zach Zahner, Aaron Vanderbroek, and all of our $5 patrons, and also the $2 patrons that we have. But yeah, things should be good this month. We just got the announcement that there's not going to be any Echoes of the Zaramon happening, or Echoes of the most recent update, rather. So there's going to be time to fill in a lot of old guides for Warframe, which is awesome. Should expand the site and be great. Thank you so much for everyone's support on Patreon. I really appreciate it.